Anna, who is going to coordinate the all event. So at this point, let's believe and pray. Father, we thank you for this morning. We exalt you for making us see this beautiful day. As we start this meeting, I will pray that you may give us understanding and wisdom, that we may understand all that you're being presented today, and that, Father Jesus, we may continue being cyber safe in everything we do, us living and trusting in Christ Jesus, our Lord and Savior. Amen. Thank you again, everyone. My name is Martin Ogar from GDC. So at this point, I'll hand over to Madam Diana so that she can say a few remarks and then hand over to the KCSFA team. Diana, over to you.
Good morning, and thank you, Martin. I hope I can be heard by everybody.
Yes, you can.
Thank you for confirming that. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, into this awareness session that has been organized by the KCSFA team. I'd like to recognize and welcome all senior management from the various organizations that are represented here, and all other participants as well from the organizations that we reached out to. Just very briefly is to introduce what this session is all about. You may have seen the details. However, October is usually CyberSecurity Awareness Month. We had a similar session last year, and for those who are able to attend, I'm sure they gained a lot from it. This year's theme is do your part, be cyber smart. That said, KCSFA will be taking us through a lot of the presentations on how we should prepare for that. But just in a nutshell, do we know what cybersecurity is all about? We have heard it over and over again, but what do we as individuals understand from it? We have to secure ourselves or be cyber aware. We have to ensure that we are not exposing ourselves or the organizations that we work in to this cyber risk. So just to let us know is the team from KCSFA will be letting us know what we as employees need to be aware of, what do we understand about these cyber threats, and what are the potential impacts for us, and how can we then reduce these risks and while we are working on the online workspace. But what is most critical, and I think would be part of our take home from this session, is that as employees, as organizations, we need to create a culture around cybersecurity in the workplace. By this, we create, we reduce the risk and of being attacked within our organizations, and of course, employees from being unknowingly complicit in cyber crime activities. I do not want to take much time. It is 9:10. Allow me then at this point to hand over to the KCSFA team to take us through the sessions. I would just apologize if I may have failed to recognize anybody from this session, and kindly do let me know on chat if there's a team member from the organizations represented that would like to give any opening remarks at this point. We shall be looking out for that. Martin, please do check out on what will be on the chat that we need to respond to. KCSFA will advise us how they'd like us to address any questions that are brought to chat. Are they answered at the end or as we go along in this meeting? So thank you very much, and I wish us all a very good session. Over to you, KCSFA.
Good morning, if you can hear me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wow, thank you that you have found some time to attend this session. We also appreciate for that honor and the privilege, because we are not the best in cybersecurity, but we have sacrificed so that we can also create awareness. And thank you, Madam Diana. Thank you also, Martin, and every organization that is represented. Thank you for. I also request that we mute our mics. Yeah, so thank you. So I am Frederick. I'm the Vice Chairman at Kenya Cybersecurity and Forensic Association. We have some of our team in this call, and I'm privileged also to be presenting. And our session today is going to be somehow practical, so that you can be able to see, as Madam Diana has said, do you know what is cybersecurity and why does it matter to you in the first place? She has also spoken about culture, and culture shapes our mindset, how we behave even as human beings. We are within COVID-19. We have been, covering ourselves with masks, and it is something that is now very conscious in us. We are very much aware of COVID-19 because we have seen that we can die if you contract COVID-19. So you are very much aware that when you get out of the house, you put on a mask. Mine is here, and also this is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and it is celebrated globally. And the theme for this year is Be Cyber Smart. So this is to each and every person. So to companies, they are supposed to be cyber smart. If you talk of REREC, if you talk of GDC, KETRACO, National Oil, and any other organization, and also you as an individual, you also need to be cyber smart. So there's a poll which is actually running, and you can just participate so that we know what do you do? Do you take some backups? How strong is your password as an individual? And as we had done last year, where we shared that the knowledge that you gain from this session, it can be valuable to the organization and also to you as an individual, because you have a family. Some of us are parents. So some of this information might be valuable to you as an individual and also as a person who is working in that specific organization. Allow me to mention, we have Data Protection Act. We also have, Cyber Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act. These are already enacted and signed into law. So if you, out of maybe ignorance or lack of knowledge, you make the organization to lose their data. Last week, we saw the High Court, trying to almost maybe nullify the Huduma number process. And just because they missed on the part of data protection impact assessment. So we expect so many such lawsuits in a few days to come. And now it is important, now that there are already laws which forces us, to be able to observe some of these things. So also we sent some phishing emails, and probably some of you may have clicked. We sent to your domain emails. We shall have a presentation, a technical one, and also Grace and Anthony will also show us at the end of towards the end of the presentation. Allow me to share my screen to just take you through a one-page document before we delve into the technical process. And also you can also ask your questions. You can type in the chat. You can share with the admin as well as we continue with the session.
Wow.
So let us also mute our mic so that we don't share anything that we are not supposed to share with people. I have seen people share things in a Zoom session. So this is, can you see the screen? Can you see the screen? Good. Yes. So we're just going to look at this single page, then we get into the practical presentation. And today our focus is on the phishing because 90% of attacks, actually, they start as a phishing attack. You receive an email and probably you do not even know what you're supposed to do with that specific email. So you don't know if you're supposed to forward it to the IT, you're supposed to delete. Before you know it, you click. And when you click, you have already allowed the attacker maybe into your machine. And nowadays, most organizations, they are focusing on their customers. So the attack is now shifting to the customer, to you as an individual. Because if I can push something to your phone, if I can send you something that is to do with betting, because I know that you love betting, then I have the probability of me trying to control your machine is very easy. So in this case, human factor comes in when you talk of the phishing. And we have different types of phishing. We have the social engineering. I'm sure most of us tumepata that SMS that, you know, usitume kwa hii number. And because most of us, almost all the time, you have somewhere to set some money, you become a victim, including me. I have ever, you know, fallen victim to that. So we have poor employee habits. So some of us, we leave our computers not locked when you step out of your machine. The way, keeping our sensitive information on paper, you don't lock them. Sharing of the information, either your private information or the company's information, in unsecure manner. Another one is a remote and external devices. When did you last scan your computer or even your phone? Because the phone is now becoming a computer. No company-wide training participation. So for this one, at least you are doing good. Creating time and coming to participate in such a session. It means that you have already taken some initiative and you are motivated to learn. Then we have spear phishing. So these are a bit technical. We shall organize a technical session with the IT team from each organization so that we can take them deeper in this specific type of attacks. Then there is bring your own device. So I'm sure you come with your phone, then you access the company's network, the Wi-Fi, but you know, it is your phone, it is not a company's phone, or even your machine. It is not a company's machine. So, but you do not know where you were yesterday, maybe afternoon or evening. You went to take some coffee, you connected maybe to their Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi, and without knowing, someone hooked into your browser, as we are going to see. So from there, you now bring these malwares and all these manners of things back into the organization. So what are you supposed to do? You need to know, first, there's the awareness, like what we are doing. Second, there is the consciousness that as you connect to that free public Wi-Fi, so a malware can get into your device, and before you know it, you come back with that malware. Also, we have internet at our homes. Our children, they are enjoying internet at home. The other day, we witnessed one of our customers. They have internet connection at home, but it is not secure. So, and they use the same internet for news and watching TV series and all that. So these guys, they accessed the Wi-Fi, and they streamed. It was around 7 p.m. They streamed a porn website, and the children were there. They were watching news, and it took for them to go and switch off, but already the damage had already been done. So it is important to know these things. It starts with awareness, then the consciousness, then you create a culture. When you go to cyber cafe, before you click, you are aware that you can fall a victim. Before you share a company's file, before you attach that document, are you authorized to attach the document? To whom are you sending to? Do you send with your Yahoo or your Gmail account? And allow me to stop the share and get to the technical presentation. So I will share briefly the platform that we use. So I'm assuming, and this is how they work. So they set up platforms on cloud, then they will come and search REREC, then identify that your domain is open, it doesn't have the required security controls, then it becomes easier for them to spoof. They can even send an email. It looks like it's coming maybe from GDC. So they'll send an email, ict@gdc.co.ke, ict@rerec.co.ke. And I'm sure that some of you may have received some of those emails. And the reason it becomes easier for them is because there's an extra security that needs to be applied. So this is not the technical team in the call this morning. So there are some things that you need to do so that you don't expose the organization. So what basically happens is that most of these hackers, they have a lot of resources. So they will set up these platforms on the cloud, like what we have done here. So this platform, when it is left running, so what it does is that it listens, basically it listens the same way you are listening to me as we make this presentation. So it listens for any victim who have successfully clicked on a link that they have shared somewhere. So they can even share such a link. If you look here, so this is a link. So this link, I can, they can, compromise a company's website. Then there's a way that they are going to manipulate the code. From there, anytime you open the company's website, your browser is going to download something into your computer. And every time there's a successful connection, we are going to get a response from your computer that you have already connected. As you can see, all these are successful connection, although we are just doing them for this session. And from there, we are going to hook into your browser. So to hook to your browser is just basically to have access to your computer browser. So you are working, imagine you are working and someone has access to your browser, but you cannot even see your mouse moving. But what is happening, basically, we have access to your browser, and this is how 90% of cyber attacks happens. And you will never know. You go to a blog, someone has died, what you click, before you know it, something has gotten into your machine. And sometimes the antiviruses that you are using, somehow they are very easy to fool them. So assuming this is now a server that is set up somewhere on the cloud. So I'm going now to exit this and I will share, assuming you have already been compromised successfully. So this is what will happen. So what will happen is that if you have clicked, if you have visited a certain website, especially the betting websites, so you download something into your machine without your information. So what will happen, the attacker on the other end, they will have access to your machine remotely. Like now here, I have access to another machine somewhere. And if you look here, it says online browser, offline browsers. So what does it mean by the online browsers? It means that I have access to that computer, to the browser of that specific computer. And with this platform, remember this platform can be hosted for free. And what will happen is, even if I'm not a very technical hacker, I can just pay some dollars, $100 per month, and the hackers will set up for me. Then we are going to target the energy sector, and we are going to create a campaign which can resonate well with the energy sector. And I know, for instance, let's take a REREC website, and I'm not saying that they are vulnerable. So what will happen? We will compromise, the source code, the back end, and we will make sure that any person who accesses that website, they are going to download our code and we'll have a remote access to their machine. Another way, emails, they will be sent, And after this, I think we are going to agree to set some serious testing, some phishing email, and see how many of us may fall victims very easily, so that we don't think that these are just theoretical stuff that we are sharing. So from here, I have access to this machine, and what I can do so much, harm to the target computer, or to the one that has already been breached or compromised. So there are so many things here, but when you come to the commands, these are things that can be able to happen remotely to you. One of it that is very common, assuming that you are just browsing in your machine, and you don't even know, and I'm assuming you have a Gmail account. So most people, they have a Gmail account. So we can do all these things that you can see here. Something like tab nabbing. You can be, let's say you have opened your browser. So what I can do, I can set a command to you without you knowing. And that command, what will happen? It will open an extra tab in your browser. In this case, it might be Mozilla or any other browser that you use. That is why it is important to keep updating your computer browser, because browser is one of the most vulnerable software application that we have. So what happens is that tab nabbing, I can open a link, maybe a betting website, without you knowing. So utaona just a new tab. You may not even, pay much attention, because I assume you have so many tabs. Tabs is just something. Let me just so let's just continue. So I can open a new tab like Google. You may not ask yourself, I'm not the one who have opened this tab, and I may force you to open a link, even if you have not opened it, I can open it for you. I can initiate a new tab without you knowing. Another one is we can initiate a fake update to your browser, because most browsers, they will just prompt you for an update. We can also, something that is very common that always work all the time is the Google, because we expect that you always have a Gmail account, most of us. So what we'll do, so this is the IP address of my victim that we have breached successfully. So what will happen is that I will initiate a Google or a Gmail login in their machine without them knowing. Sometimes we may not pay much attention. And that's why we are talking of be aware, be conscious, and have that culture. So try to question, where did this browser new tab come from? I had not opened Gmail. Who opened it up for me? So what will happen is that if you execute this, so you see we have opened here, and this is a Gmail. Of course, what will happen is that I will have already registered a domain here. You may not even, be aware of whatever is here, because it is also possible to hide whatever URL is running here. So if we are, I will force you to now, maybe log in into your Gmail. Let's say my Gmail is this.com. So this is your machine. It is being controlled remotely without your information. And what happened is that someone just sent you a link and you just clicked. So if you sign in, there's a way that we can configure. If you try to sign in, you will now be redirected into the right Gmail URL. As you can see here, we have not configured where it should redirect you as an individual. But what has happened, the moment you have done that, our platform back on the back, or where this is running, has already captured your username, as you can see here, username, and also the password. And this is how we lose most of these login informations. So it does not happen as a magic. And because browser is one of the most vulnerable applications, software application. And another advantage, it doesn't matter whether you have Windows, whether you have Linux, whether you have Mac. I know whatever computer that you are using, there's a browser somewhere. At most of the browser, the way they communicate, they use the same principle, you know, when they are communicating and when they are dumping information. And I want to, so that is how you can lose your Gmail account. It cannot only be Gmail account. I can also learn that, you know, you bank with, for instance, Equity. So we will just create a fake page, as you will see with the other presentation. So from there, you will think it is Equity. It will even look like Equity. And what you'll do is that you'll just log in. From there, after you log in, you may redirect it into the real website, but you don't know that you have already captured your username and password. So that is how most of these, you lose most of this login information. I want to show you another one. So there are so many that works. So when I'm connected, I can be able to now start scanning where you are working, scanning your internal network. For instance, I can try to see, I can even do a port scanning. Port scanning is assuming now you are in the office right now as you follow this presentation. So I can try to set, then if successfully we hook into a browser, we can now start trying to understand how is the network where you are seated right now. What is the IP of maybe the next computer? What is the network, you know, how is the network structured where you are seated? So what will happen? We are using your machine as a pivot to attack the organization where you are seated. So the shift will, the focus will shift from you now into the organization. Probably you are hosting the ERP within the organization. So you can see how you can endanger an entire organization just by a single successful compromise through phishing. And if you look at this, for instance, my target or my victim is 193.7, and I initiate a port scan, execute. So you see it has already scanned for me. All these port numbers are open. And when we talk of port numbers, we don't want to sound very technical, but basically every machine, like even your machine right now, the one that you are using right now, it is already communicating with other computers internally. Maybe you are connected to a router for the internet connection. So the way your machine is able to communicate to that router is through different things within your machine. And one of such a thing is called port number. So what will happen after I have seen this, I will know that you are running SAP. From there, I will send another request. As you can see here, we can do a fingerprint of the router where you are connected to right now. We can know who is supplying your router in that organization. And also, so from there, we have a lot. What I want you to is just to try and comprehend and see how these attacks happen. These are not magic. This is a real thing. And one thing is that most young people, when they do not get jobs, they engage themselves into this. They actually offer these services at a cost. For instance, 5,000, 10,000, they set up the platforms for you. Then they pick an organization like, let's say GDC, through something called advanced persistent threat. So when we zero in on GDC, we shall go to LinkedIn, we search for GDC, and we are going to be given almost every person who works there. So from there, we can craft messages. And what we want is just to hook into their browsers. So as we have said, the focus of attack is shifting from the servers, even from the routers, because for instance, like GDC, they have their own firewalls, they have their own servers, they even maybe have notifications if someone tries to hack. But if we target the human being, and human being them being the first line of defense, our proposition is we may not miss it, because human being, they are the weakest link in any security chain. So if you have a chain, so the weakest link in that chain that will make that chain not to be complete is human being, because phishing works through trust. Sometimes we have things that we like. So if I said something to you and you like it, and maybe you like flowers. So if I create a phishing campaign around flowers, then I said it to you, most likely you are going to click. And if you look at this, you see, and I can also command the browser to be hooked. Even when you shut off your machine, I will still have access to your browser when you restart it. I can even push the hooking aspect into your registry. Computer registry is what contains the instructions when your machine is booting up or when you're starting the machine. So what will happen when you go home, I will still have access when you switch on your computer. I'll even try to detect the operating system that you are using in your machine. It will print all that information. I can even get clipboard. Clipboard is when you copy paste. So the copy paste aspect is stored in clipboard. So I can access the clipboard and imagine you are copying and pasting some files, very confidential company's file. We can have access to that. You can have access to the registry. Exploit is what has so much. We can activate the camera in your machine. Just a minute. We can push so much. So these are now malwares, viruses. We can push them into a machine that will now give us further access into a machine. So I want us to have a look at one extra so that we go to the next one. We can even screenshot what you are doing in your machine. So maybe you are watching something. So we screenshot. You are watching something at night. We screenshot, then we craft an email and we tell you, okay, we had access to your machine. And we saw that you are watching 1, 2, 3, and you see you are an elder in a church. So give us this amount of money. And you are going to give us because you love your reputation. You can also grab, if you have some Google contact in your machine, cookies. Anytime you visit any website, there's a small piece of code that is stored in your machine so that you don't keep logging in. For instance, the Facebook. So we can be able to access all your cookies from your machine. And what will happen is that we can now log in without having any further access or needing even your username and password. So when you go to the browser, we can play sound. We can activate sound in your machine. So it will just play unless you shut down your machine. And when you shut down, remember, we still have access because we have fully hooked into a machine. We can activate the webcam. So assume unaenda na machine in your bedroom and we have activated the webcam. Na haitatoa that light kuonyeshana that webcam is on. No, it will not happen. It will work through flash. Then you can be able to watch over, webcam. So there's a lot. All these can be able to happen, and we may not have so much time to go through each one of them, but I just wanted us to appreciate how somehow it has become very easy for someone to even compromise your computer out there. So what do? Make sure that your machine has the antivirus. Do not disable the antivirus. Make sure it is up to date. Make sure you are careful. When you go to, imagine I can go to Java, for instance. I start to run this and I compromise their Wi-Fi. So any person who accesses the Wi-Fi, so we can have access to their machine and start pushing this. And all we need to do is just to have the initial access to their browser. After we have hooked, then we are going to mark that as hooked. So when you get home or when you get into your office, we can be able now to access your machine when you are at home or even when you get back to the office. So allow me to switch off this and start another one. So we are noting the questions. We are going to address them. In the interest of time, let me share Let me share very fast, just a minute. So this is a lab that we use. So we have a computer, it is running Windows 7. So you're going to start this computer. And it is running Windows 7, updated, some running Windows 10. And we want to show how you can also, someone can access your machine without still you knowing. And this is how they compromise. For instance, we come at, let's say REREC, they have Wi-Fi, they give us access to their Wi-Fi. So from there, we scan the network. So there are those procedures that you do. It is called information gathering. And from there, we can be able to, depending on the amount of information that we have gathered, we can now, we can be able to know this person in the finance, they are running Windows 7, this person in the management, this person in administration, this person in procurement. And what we'll do is that we are going to zero in on those, on the specific individuals who we think they have valuable information. So we may not focus on anyone who will not give or offer any value to us. So what will happen is that so this machine is running Windows 7, although it is not activated. And one way is to make sure that the machines that you are running are activated. They have genuine softwares, but this attack will work even if your machine has a genuine software or not. So the IT people in this call, you need to deploy some solutions, within your network, so that you can control and you can also protect the user, because some of these things users may not be in a position to even protect themselves. So it requires the IT to also, try to do the right thing. So this is Windows machine. So we have scanned the network and we have already gotten that the finance, they are running a Windows 7 machine. So we now want to switch back to the attack machine that we are going to use for the attack. So we will attack this computer. And when we attack this machine, we are going to use, what will happen is that after we attack this machine, the attack is usually sent to, I don't want to sound very technical, but the attack is sent here. As you can see, these are the processes. But what will happen at most of the time when the attacks comes to your machines, you see, like this is explorer.exe. So there's no way antivirus can scan this and detect that this is a malware. So when we initiate the attack, it comes, it gets inside. Don't think much, just try to understand what I'm saying. So it comes and get into this specific process. So even if the antivirus is there, it is just like ile dogi inakaanga chini imeshiba, so msee akikuja it's just barking, but it cannot even bite. So we switch on to.
So just a moment as you proceed. No, it seems like your screen is hanging up. You're not seeing your cursor moving.
Oh, you
cannot see seeing that.
You cannot see the screen?
I can see the screen. You are viewing KCSFA association screen, but it seems to be hanging. I cannot see your cursor moving as you talk. And the sign that is there is the hanging sign. I don't know whether I'm the only one seeing that.
Oh, your screen sharing is paused. Oh, okay, it is paused. So let me stop this and share the attack machine. I know. Let me see if it will work. The attack machine. So can you see the machine now?
Yeah, we are seeing what you're doing now.
Yeah. So this is the attack machine. So we will use as we said, most of these tools are free. So we are going to use a tool called Metasploit Framework. This is a free tool. Any person who is technical can be able to download and learn. And we have young people walking very frustrated. They don't have money. 2 months ago, they were arrested in Rwanda, 8 of them. and they got each, I think, 8 years in jail. And these are the things that they were doing, and they were using these specific tools because we were somehow engaged in one way or another. So what happens is that, so these are technical now, don't focus a lot on this, but I want to show you how how it is easy for someone who is very, very much focused to attack an organization and even to attack a specific individual. So what happens is that they zero in to a specific individual. For instance, someone in the finance, because we know this person in the finance, they have the correct and the right files. So if we access them, probably they have access to the bank, they do online banking. So we are not wasting our time. Also, someone maybe in the procurement, they have the database for suppliers. So we can now shift our target to the suppliers. We can attack the suppliers and we tell them that, you know what, National Oil have already allocated a tender for you. But now for that to happen, there's a tender fee 1, 2, 3. So if we send such an email to 100 suppliers who had already applied for such a tender, so we may somehow, the probability of getting some amount of money is there. So we are going to pick on this. And as you can see, our target is a Windows application, a Windows operating system. So use. So what happens is that as the IT admins, they're supposed to be updating, upgrading the operating systems, advising the users what to do, what not to install. And when users are told to do that, not to do 1, 2, 3, do not fight, do not say, no, it is my machine, I'm an adult, all those things. So if you refuse to maybe update, then you make it very hard for them to even protect you. So set just a few minutes. Sorry. So if you are not technical, just flow with the presentation. The idea is to make your mind see how these things work and how easy it becomes for someone who is really focused on attacking. So all these are settings, and I can host this on the cloud. Then I charge young people 10,000. Then they pick victims, or they pick target organization or target people. Then they attack. So for every attacks, we can agree, you shall be giving me this amount of money, because I am sure that it will work anywhere. So even the young people, they do not even need to be very practical, for these attacks to work. So this is where we set our target machine. So we are targeting this machine. Also, we talked of port. So there's a specific port or something in any computer that must be open. And this is port 445. In your computer, even right now, this port is open. But is it bad to be open? No. But it is supposed to be protected, even if it is supposed to be open. So the IT people, they also have their part to pray as well. Then we verify the target. Say set. And if maybe you have a brother or a sister who is interested to study this is the next career, you can just reach out and we are going to advise them on what to do. So then after we do all this, we look for something called payloads. So payloads is what we are going to send to your computer. This is like a virus, a worm into your computer. This is what will come and cause havoc and wreak havoc in your computer. So you're going just to pick one. So this is what will be sent to your machine, and you will not even know that something is being sent to your machine. You are just lacking. I think next time what we are going to do, we will do it practically with one of you. We try to compromise a machine remotely. So show options. Sorry. Let me just. Options. As you can see, I'm not thinking a lot. These things have been programmed for me. So all I need to do is just to know what to type and where to type and the target that I'm supposed to attack. Then set lhost. So lhost is now my computer remotely where I am. This is what will now, I don't want to sound very technical, but this is what my computer will be listening for your computer to talk to me. So when I said this to you, your computer, through acknowledgement, this is how computers speak. Are you there? Then the computer responds, yes, I'm here. Then my machine asks, can I set some data? Then because your machine is very honest, it will say, oh yes, I am ready, you can set. But if there's maybe a firewall or even a good antivirus will interpret and say, no, can you shut your mouth? You are speaking with the wrong person. That then set. So from there, I can now initiate the attack now to your computer. You can just be seated somewhere there, around there. If you have a Wi-Fi, I can just come at the reception. I ask, can I get Wi-Fi? Yes. So when I have the Wi-Fi, so what I'm doing, I'm just trying to attack computers within your network, So we are now attacking the Windows computer on the other side. Remember, we had Windows computer, so we shall switch back in a minute. And as you can see, we have already compromised the Windows computer, and it is running Windows 7. So you are seated in your machine, and you don't even know that someone has already breached your computer. So assuming I don't know what to do from here, so what I am doing, I am now seated in your computer. Don't try to think a lot. I'm seated in your computer, but remotely, because this is how attacks happen. So someone is attacking from China. You hear that China is attacking US. This is what they do. And not only now states, even organizations and even individuals. Like now, we can pick a few managers in your organizations, and now we zero in on them. And I can assure you, in a month's time, we shall have access to their machine. So if you have access to their machine, what do? You can just type here help, assuming you don't know anything. Then it will tell you what you're supposed to type. Let's say get system. What does get system mean? Get system. So remember, now we are targeting the Windows machine. So assuming after I attacked your computer and your user ID, and assuming you are not even administrator in that computer. So what I have done, I have now been granted full permission, administrator's permission to manipulate, to delete, to upload. I can even upload files into that computer. And you don't even know, you are just working. And even the antivirus, as we have said, is like that. Your doggy, doggy gishiba, ukipea nyama sana, it will not even know this is a thief, this is a owner of the house. Sometimes hata inaweza uma the owner of the house. So that is how antivirus sometimes work. So all these commands still as what we were looking at during the other presentation. Ukinikasirisha sana, I can reboot your machine. You can say reboot, and the machine is going to reboot. Maybe you are working on something. You are working on a Word document you may type, you have not saved. Then I will detect the process ID. I can kill that process, and you lose your work, for instance. I can also clear your event log. Every machine has event logs where after anything has happened, the forensic comes and extract evidence from that machine. So I can just clear that event log, such that if we came for forensic, there's nothing that will be seen there. And what will happen is that utaambiwa, you colluded with those people, so you deleted the evidence. We can still look at the network. We can run the networks, try to understand where is this person connected to, which router are they running. But the most The one that is very serious is that we can upload our own malwares. Probably we have our own malwares. It is possible to upload even a virus, a worm into your computer, and you will never know. It is actually possible to create a folder in your computer and you will even not have any idea. For instance, we are going to create one here. So just pick a command, and you see we are not even thinking a lot. We are just picking what has been provided here. As long as you know how to use, or as long as you hire me to do this for you, I can even delete a folder, an entire folder in your operating system. And we have seen this in operations. We have seen people losing information and even getting ransomware. Most of the ransomware, this is how they get into their machine, into your machine. So we can do mk make directory. So you just need to type, then itakwambia no. So you need to type mkdir, call it, you know, we can call it, let us call it just rare, due to assume it was there. Already imekuwa created on the Windows machine. From there, within that Windows machine, we can upload, assuming we have malwares, for instance, we can upload those malwares into that specific computer, or any other file that you have. It is possible to upload that file into the folder that you have already created. So let us check on another one command. So you can reboot, you can shut down, you can even steal tokens. Any computer has some tokens. And let me not dwell a lot on that because you are going to be confused. Says info. So we want to see my target. This is the information on my target. So my computer that I have attacked is called Analysis PC. It is running Windows 7, build 76, the work group of that machine, how many users are logged in that machine. I can even pick the idle time, meaning that I will know huyu mtu ako kwa hiyo computer kweli ama ameenda kidogo. So if I check the idle time, nione that maybe idle time is high, nitajua okay, the person is not in the machine. So I can do crazy stuff in that machine before they come back. You can even start to capture keystrokes. And this is how most of us, we lose, you know, private information. Whatever you type, I can start. Keys can start. Alafu itakuwa inatuma hizi keystroke into my email or something. You can even screenshot. You can screenshot. You can run screenshot. So tuseme msee ana watch kitu usiku, you want some evidence. So already ime screenshot na imenisavia kwa this specific folder. So now watch something, then sometimes we have done some forensic and someone is logged into someone's email, and that is how we are able to capture and show that this person had hacked or he is the one. Sometimes tumeona wase wametuma sijui nini. So unaona mtu alikuwa amehack someone's Gmail or something like that, and that's how you are able to capture such information. So let us switch back to the Windows. We see the evidence of if we have such a folder called rare, so that we can stop at that in the interest of time. So we go back to the Windows machine. Can you see the Windows machine?
Yes.
Yes. So we want to see, we have created a folder called rare. And one beauty thing about such an attack is that it will attack us. It will even be more than administrator. So if you are in a Windows environment, I mean a domain, maybe mukona domain pale, the way you log into your machine, what will happen? It will even go beyond the administrator of the domain. It uses a user called system. System is a user who can do anything in your machine. And what we have done, can you imagine that the payload or the malware that is running inside the explorer.exe? You as a human being, you cannot even see like there's a malware running here. But if there are tools that we can use and try to detect, even the antivirus cannot even know that there's a stranger who is already in the computer. So if we go to, by default, the folders and the files, they usually go to system32. So we can check out system 32. You see, we have created this folder at 9:59 rare. And you will not even know, you are in your machine, but you don't know someone created a folder. And what will happen? We can upload malwares here. So after you are done with the machine, you go home, we still have access to the machine. And our prayer is utaenda home, utaweka machine, alafu hautazima. Then we can be able now to upload more files. After we upload the files, we can now try to dig much into the organization. Tuende hivyo tufikie SAP, umefungua SAP pale, we hook into the browser. On the other side, to upload some files. In the interest of time, we may not show the process of uploading. To upload hapa ungeona. And basically, this is how attacks happens. Very basic, very basic. Have we learned? Are we following?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Are we learning? Actually, we've come to the end of the
Yes,
presentations. Yeah, because I'm also happy that you are able to follow. So there are a few questions. Is it bad to click that option of we use cookies when browsing on your machine? Yeah, it depends on the computer. Sorry, it depends on the website that you are running. So there are websites that you must allow the cookies. But what happens, you need to know how to manage your cookies and your browser. You can set up in your own browser as a user. You can set up how long should the cookies be alive in your browser. So you can set time kidogo sana, so that when you log out, the cookies, maybe they become invalid or something like that. But if you allow the cookies to be alive for a long time, after you log out, for instance, let's say an online banking platform, then someone can steal that cookie and they can do something called session replay. So they can replay your session and they will not need a username and a password. For instance, you log into your SAP. So these are settings and configurations that you can make on your browsers, and it is very, very possible. Also, you can mark, but now you have an updated antivirus. But most of the time, the most and the best way to do it is to just look at the configuration of the browser. This is something that you can do by yourself, actually. You just go to the options, you will see cookies somewhere. Alafu useme, these cookies zinafaa ku expire immediately. I close off the computer. This is how they steal Facebook and Twitter logins. After you log out in a cyber, wanachukua cookie ama walikuwa wameweka maybe a keylogger in that machine. Oh, sorry, I did not see this. Okay. And we conclude that all these data's entry point is just to click and open or an unknown or suspect mail in my inbox. Can we conclude that all these data's entry point is just to click on to click and open an unknown and suspect mail in my inbox? So the funny thing, about a year, 2-3 years ago, these things, they used to be like that. It is unknown. But now you can give our team your email address, and we are going to send an email from CEO, and the antivirus and whatever you have will not even detect or discern. It will come as a very genuine email. And to make the matters worse, you don't even need to click. All you need to do is, like, let's say, to hover, because nowadays they are applying artificial intelligence. So the moment you hover, and your machine maybe do not have the correct updates, or even the antivirus is not up to date, immediately something is installed in your machine. And the problem is, after it is done, we are notified from where we have set up our servers. Then from there, we will now start to manipulate your machine. And what we'll do is that your machine will be a pivot. A pivot is somewhere you can step on, then you jump into the network. That is what happens. And you see, the most unfortunate thing, I have, like now we are working on a case somewhere, someone was hacked, you know, they did not know. Through that hacking, it is a circle. The circle lost some money because their machine was hacked, then they hacked into the circle ERP system and they transferred some money. So you can imagine you are seated there, someone is breaching your machine and you don't even know. So what do? Make sure that first you are aware that that can happen. Second, you are conscious that can happen. Third, develop a culture. Ensure, when last did you scan your machine? When last did you use maybe an extra tool to even scan your machine? So what is the difference between HTTPS and HTTP in terms of security? So very basic. HTTP, if someone is, I wanted to use something that is real, but if let's say you are connecting to our website and someone is, you know, is seated in between you and the website, for instance, an online banking system. So if you have HTTP, it means that I can see what you are browsing. If you are seated in Java, you connect to the online banking, and in Java, I'm just using it as an example. So if it is HTTP, it means it is not secured. There is no something called digital SSL. So if someone can be able to sit in between you and the bank as you log in, they can see the content and the information in plain text. If you input a password, a username, as it is being transmitted, I can capture that, the username and password. But if it is HTTPS, at least, and the WhatsApp, they tell us they do encryption. So if someone is trying to intercept to your WhatsApp, they cannot be able, unless they steal your phone, they access your WhatsApp database inside of your phone. But if they try to sit in between you and the person you are communicating with, they cannot, because they have applied those HTTPS, all that. What happens with the phones? Are they hacked the same way as the computers, especially with the current era? Exactly. In fact, phone is now becoming more computer than the computers themselves. And it is unfortunate that we put a lot of emphasis on the computers, but we forget the phone. And you are with the phone for almost 90% of your time. Right now, there's an app, there's a Trojan, an attack that comes as an SMS. It will just tell you, download phones, you click. The moment you click, on the background of your phone, something is installed. And what will happen, as we have demonstrated on the Windows machine, you will not know that something is running on the background. So in any Android phone, there's a feature called overlay. Overlay feature, it enables me to open different apps. I can open different apps at the same time. So what happens is that this app, it listens the same way you are seeing us listening for your machine to communicate to us. So anytime you are opening, and now we have added Uber, and Uber has given us the option of adding our debit card, credit card, so that it makes easier to pay. Also our M-Pesa information. So anytime you open Uber, this app or this service, listening on the background of your phone, it intercepts that process. It will present a fake Uber interface and you will not even know. So what you do is that you enter your M-Pesa and your PIN. At the back of it, there's an attacker who is waiting for that information. So they may send the number of your M-Pesa and maybe the PIN. From there, they can maybe, they can clone the number or something like that. But for the credit and debit card, that is how they steal information from things like Uber, even mobile banking. So you open mobile banking because they give you apps. So what they do so the app can be able to clone that service or the Trojan in your phone can clone. You see, this sounds like a magic, but it is something that is working actually. So from there, that is how you lose the information. The app even goes a step ahead. Anytime you make a call, they activate recording, and the recording is uploaded as long as you have some bundles without you knowing. So you may realize that your bundles are gone. Also, messages, you are sending messages, that service intercept. So it will set 2 copies of message. For instance, that is how they intercept your banking, your 2-factor authentication for banking login. So where the bank send you an SMS to log in into your account. So what am I saying? You just need to make sure that your phone has maybe antivirus. You are also careful, you are aware, you are conscious that this can also happen. So Francis, your hand is up. Maybe you have a question. We really had to rush. We will not even present the other one in the interest of time, but we are going to draft something. But after this, we can have some phishing test. Then after the phishing test, maybe if time will allow, we can have another session just for those people to tatumia the phishing test, so that they see, where was I fooled? Why did I even click? How comes that this thing, this person fooled me very easy? So Francis, are you there? Or maybe Martin, or Madam?
Thank you, Frederick. I can see one question on chat from Nambura Kinutia. She's asking, what happens with the phones? Are they hacked the same way as the computers, especially with the current era of mobile-enabled banking?
Yeah, we have already answered that. And we have said that all you need is you need to scan your phone. Be careful. If you install any app and they ask you to add maybe debit card or credit card for easier payments, like Uber, they have that. So connect your app, your credit card or your banking information, so that you don't have to hassle a lot when you are doing the payments. Be very, very careful, because that is how you are going to lose your information. Also, there are antiviruses for the phones. Focus. This is something that you pay. I think with 500 bob, you have an antivirus for a whole year for a phone. There's one called Malwarebyte or something like that. And depending on who you are, if you're in the management, be sure that one day someone is going to target your phone, because they know that you have a lot of information, company information, emails, because of convenience. At the airports, you request for logins, or then public Wi-Fi, all these things. So phone, computer, all these things, the world is coming as a digital village. So we are working remotely, and phone is becoming as one of the assets. Yeah. Any more question? You can raise your hand as we wind up. And thank you very much for staying in this call. I know we have been a bit technical, but we really had to showcase this so that we don't just become theoretical at all times, so that you can also see how these things work. And also on the part of data protection, make sure that you are aware, make sure you are conscious, make sure that your culture in anything related with cyber risk. Cyber risk is not only for the IT people. Cyber risk now, it affects everyone, because someone can breach your machine the way we have seen. From there, GDC, REREC, KETRACO, National Oil, they are going to lose their data. And now that the court has set a precedent, you do not know when a lawyer is going to wake up and say, okay, look, REREC, they have some information. What have they done? They are just collecting our information on petrol station, National Oil. What have they done? Have they complied to the Data Protection Act? And because there's already a precedent that the court has already set up, then we expect these things to come up very soon. So generally accepting cookies while browsing is not bad. Yeah, generally is not bad, but you need to be, as we are saying, you need to be aware that that cookie can be stolen, and you don't know if at that point in time your browser is already breached. And one of the challenges with these cyber things is that you may not know when you are breached. The antiviruses, as we have shared, somehow most of these antiviruses, they are like ni kama tu doggy, we are sharing. Imekula, imeshiba, then it cannot even know this is a stranger, this is the owner of the house. Because most of these attacks, they are happening at the browser level. And most of the antiviruses, the way they are configured, the way they are installed, they may not have the ability to detect any attack or any stranger in your machine who is already within the browser. So it is not bad, but make sure, look at your browser, go to the options, check where does it say that, delete cookies after 1 hour, after you are logged out of wherever you had logged in. So that is one of the examples that we have seen, that many people, if you do not enable that in your browser, that cookies to be deleted or maybe to expire upon exit of where you are browsing, then it becomes easier for anyone who accesses your browser to retrieve those specific cookies. So the only way to install antiviruses to our phone and computers. So the only safe way is to install antiviruses to our phones and computers. So installing antiviruses is one of many ways. The same way the COVID-19, there are people who are not getting out of the house because they fear that if they interact with people out there, they are going to contract COVID-19. There are others who believe that the moment they have their mask, everything is sorted. Others, they are carrying sanitizer around. Others, they are not coughing. I mean, but there's a way that you can be able to somehow be sure, because one thing is the antivirus, it can be able to see the unseen, you know, it can see the unseen. So you are not seeing whatever is in the machine, but the antivirus can be able to see. Also, the type of antivirus that you have, it matters, and the updates. Another one is to make sure that your computer is always up to date. Make sure that it has the latest updates from Microsoft. If you're using Microsoft, if it is Linux, if it is Mac, make sure that you have the updates. You can configure the updates. Maybe the IT can help you to update or to download the updates on a timely manner, maybe a day after every day or something like that. Yeah, but the most important, you are the weakest link in the security. So whether you have antivirus or not, like the attack that we demonstrated, the last one, and it does not matter whether you have antivirus or not. So your browser, is it up to date? Yeah. Any more question? You can ask any question, maybe personal, you know, related to the company. We are not sure if the IT are able to help you also. Maybe we are just talking here and the IT are not there for you. You are left on your own. Yeah, you can just a final question so that we wind up.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Do you have cybersecurity advisory services for industrial systems like industrial networks, power stations, something like that?
Yes, we do have, and this they follow their critical infrastructures and also their SCADA systems. And one of the challenges to do with the SCADA industrial systems is most of them, they run legacy systems, meaning that they are not, you know, they're like in the banking, they run a lot on the Swift. One of the Swift infrastructure is very legacy in nature, meaning that doing upgrades into those systems, like now ATMs are still running XP, Windows XP. So what we do is that, yeah, we provide that as an advisory service where we conduct the assessment, we check on the gaps, the cybersecurity maturity level, and also we assess the risk against, you know, the SCADA system, critical infrastructure, and what gaps are there, and also we guide to close on those specific gaps. Like now, before we had this session, we have already done some assessment for almost the 4 organizations, and we have shared with Martin. There are a few things that you need, the IT people need to adjust here and there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So someone is
Frederick,
asking. Oh, sorry.
Yes, I think you've seen it. You can just go ahead and answer Paul. Thank you.
So I will request Martin. Martin will be able to to share the contacts with you, email, website, phone, and any other thing that you would need us to maybe even assist. We have assisted organizations even when they almost had zero budgets. Because what happens is that, and I will say, allow me to say this, we have seen many organizations, they go for these big force, pay a lot of money. Within a month's time, they are hacked, and because these people, they just come, check some checklist, but they don't do the real stuff. The real stuff is trying to hack people, trying to hack the network, and giving you the real stuff, the real value for your money. So we are doing it, and we are assisting organizations. Can you give some examples of legit antivirus software? Because some of them are not based over a machine. Or how can someone know if using the safe? So one way to know, you can request guidance from the IT person. The IT team can be in a very good position, because sometimes there may be a policy for each machine to be running a specific type of antivirus. But something like Kaspersky is good. They are applying artificial intelligence and a few other bit defenders. There are other which are free also. But if it is your personal machine or even a phone, you can invest 2,000, 3,000, and you have a good antivirus, which can give you access to even updates. Yeah. Because I have seen people, the company is supposed to buy, and it is even your personal machine. If at home you have computers, do not allow your kids to use computers without antiviruses. So they are going to fall victim of cyber bullies. They are going to be taught on how to strike naked within the internet, I can tell you. So make sure that your computers, even at home, you can invest a few coins per year. If you invest 5,000, you get a good backup of your personal file, not even the company's file. You can also invest and you have a good antivirus, even for your phone. Like now, there's an antivirus, I think Malwarebyte. You can do 500 shillings for a whole year, and it is going to be scanning the apps. Some of these apps that we install, we think they are banking apps, but someone has just created a fake app, uploaded it, marketed it on the internet, such that when you search Equity Bank app, that is what will pop up. And before you know it, your phone has already accepted it. And from there, it is even a rogue app. So these antiviruses, they help to be scanning your phone all the time. And most of the new phones, they come loaded with some of these tools to be able to help you in terms of detection. Yeah.
Thank you, Frederick. I think we have now come to the end of our presentation. I'd like to thank everyone for finding time to join. So at this point, I'll just hand over to Diana so that she can give closing remarks. Over to you, Diana.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you, KCSFA team, for that very, very engaging session. We appreciate the participants for making time to join this meeting, and for KCSFA facilitating and always being there to remind us that we need to be aware about cybersecurity. I believe we have all learned a thing or two on how to ensure that ourselves as individuals are not the weakest link and not the ones that could open up to cyber crime, and not putting our details out there, and now more aware on how to check our phones, on how to ensure that or identify a phishing act. It is 10:25. I do not want to take much time. The contacts that shall be shared with KCSFA will be communicated through the contacts in the various organizations. You can reach out to them. You can reach out to the KCSFA team. I can see David's hand was up and he's in the call. I believe he'd want to probably say a thing or two before I close. David?
Yes, and thank you so much, Diana, for giving me this opportunity. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can, David.
Great. My name is David Kariuki. I'm the manager in charge of IT at KETRACO. I want to also just echo my appreciation to Fred and the team for organizing this session. We have been planning this together with Martin. We do have a sector, small group that we try and talk with each other, that is GDC, REREC, National Oil, KETRACO, and just try and talk about these issues. And that's why we jointly try and organize this thing. For me, I wanted to bring out just one aspect, and it was brought about by the last question that came in from Daphne, that I don't want to call it the new threat vector, but one of the most concerning threat vectors right now, especially in the energy sector, has to do with our operational technology. I know we really emphasize a lot on our IT systems, but our OT systems, where we have the SCADAs, the HMIs, the RTUs, are really now under a lot of danger, in quote, if I can say. And this is where the hackers or the threat people are really focusing on, because they know that is where it has the highest impact. For example, if KETRACO, they can attack a large substation like Suswa or Sisinya, or GDC, they target a major project like Menengai or Olkaria, or REREC, you just target a mini grid, or National Oil, any activity that is upstream or downstream. They know that this is the specific area that is your core and will bring you down as an organization. So the danger, so much has always been IT technology, but I want to bring a bigger emphasis on the more destructive nature of operational technology. And I know the energy sector partners here all use operational technology in their main areas. And this is where we want to bring this forum. I'm probably also suggesting that in our next cybersecurity awareness or even demo, we now focus specifically on OT technology and bring in our core businesses and our engineers on board, and really bring out this need that cybersecurity is really a big danger. As I close on that, I just want to ask if you have a moment, go and read about a hacking about the colonial pipeline of the US, where their OT technology was hacked just this year in May, and they had to pay a ransomware of $5 million because your core business cannot work if it has been compromised. So as I conclude, I want to echo again the main points that I got out from this call. Remember, guys, 90% of the attacks start with a phishing, a deliberate phishing. Over and above the awareness and compliance, let's build in this culture that we have. And then the theme for this month, remember, do your part and be cyber smart. Back to you, Diana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. I wouldn't want to water down those take homes. And I think we should all take that up. Again, be smart, do your part. Please do communicate to the ICT teams in case you are not sure of what you have received. Should you accept? Guys, thank you very much, KCSFA. We look forward to doing this again in the near future. I'd like to wish you all a very good day. Asanteni and kwaheri.
Thank you, team. Thank you for your time. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.